In this video, my son and I are going to take this $40 Swap Meet purchase PC and turn it into a decent gaming rig for him to use to play games on. Alright, so we're starting off with an Optiplex 7010 small form factor Dell PC with a 3rd gen Intel Core i5, 4 gigs of RAM, 500 gig hard drive, and an integrated Q77 Express video card. We're going to upgrade this with 16 gigs of RAM, a 512 gig SSD, and a GeForce GT 1030 with 2 gigs of DDR5, which should be a pretty good setup for him to get started on gaming. Before we do the hardware upgrade, we're going to go ahead and run some baseline tests using NovaBench. Although it is a paid software application, we're going to use the free one for now. You can see that for the GPU test, we're getting 3 frames per second, which is not going to be acceptable for any gaming. Okay, now that we've gotten the results back, we can see we're getting a CPU score of 471 and a GPU score of 99, with Direct3D giving us 3 frames per second and OpenCL giving us 21 floating operations per second. We have a RAM score of 108, RAM speed of 3,993 megabytes per second, and a disk score of 29 with write speeds of 83 megabytes per second and a read speed of 130 megabytes per second. Now this is expected because this is a regular hard drive and not an SSD, so we'll be upgrading that as well. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and perform the hardware upgrade, and then afterward we'll run some more tests.
Alright, let's get into it. So first we open up the PC. Scooch it over. We're gonna be putting in 3 4GB memory sticks and a GeForce GT 1030 video card. I am going to be removing the SATA and the power cables, and I am also going to be removing the DVD drive. I am going to be disconnecting the power and SATA cable and unclipping the cage from its position. Alright, next I am going to be installing 3 4GB memory sticks, which equals the total up to 16 gigabytes of RAM.
Okay, so we decided to go with a low profile video card because that's really the only thing that fits on this machine. Alright, so it comes with a bracket that I'm going to install, but first I need to remove the screw, and I also need to remove the DVI port screws. You're going to need some needle nose pliers for this. Okay, once that's been removed, you can put in the low profile bracket, put the DVI screws back in, tighten them, and then put in the bracket screw. So on this motherboard, there's 2 PCI slots. We're going to use slot 1, which is the blue one that you see here.
Next, I'm going to be installing the video card into its slot.
This converter will convert it from 2.5 to 3.5 inches. And we're going to use a cheapo ADATA 512 gig SSD, which should give us some decent performance. And we're going to stick it into this hard drive cage. Alright, so let's remove the hard drive. The hard drive is attached to the caddy. Now we detach the hard drive from the caddy. And I'm going to go ahead and install it into the 2.5 to 3.5 inch SSD converter. Stick it into the hard drive caddy. Okay, sliding that into the hard drive cage, making sure it snaps in.
Alright, now it is time to reinstall the SSD drive. First, I'm going to be connecting back the SATA cable and power cable. There we go. Next, I'm going to be sliding in the DVD drive, also connecting the SATA and power cable. Now I am putting back the cover.
Okay, so now let's compare what is the difference. We noticed that for CPU, since we didn't do any upgrade, there is not going to be any difference. As expected, the GPU gave us a big performance boost of 283%, giving us also 38 frames per second versus 3 frames per second prior. As far as memory performance, we see it increase to 96%, and that's because we're going from single channel to dual channel. And also, as expected, since we upgraded from a regular hard drive to SSD, we saw 197% performance increase. And I'm happy to report that my son has already tried CSGO, Fortnite, and several other games that says he can enjoy high resolution settings with no problem. So if he's happy, I'm happy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you.